Hello and welcome to another how-to. Today we're going to be looking at how to decide between adjustable zigs and freelining. As you know, I've developed rigs specifically for very buoyant baits, i.e. tiger bread, and I regularly use adjustable zig that I've developed, and I'll put links in the description below. Adjustable zig rig and a freelined bread rig. So how do we decide whether to use an adjustable zig or a freelined piece of bread? Here we go. When we fish in a lake with features such as islands, margins, specific channels, areas of known depth, hotspots, GPS coordinates, whatever we fancy, we may choose to cast a freelined bait above the area. There's the surface of the lake, there's the lake bed, there's our quarry. We wish to cast out to this area, hopefully bring that fish up to take our bait. Now, freelining, as the name suggests, leaves nothing in the area except your bait and a line. That line may float on the surface or sink, but in essence a freeline bait is perfect for snaring that wary carp that's seen every float, every rig over years and years, maybe being caught a few times, but still likes to eat. And when you're using tiger bread, sizes of which it's never seen before, you may well get an interest that other anglers wouldn't. So it looks the perfect presentation method, the freelined. Freelined bait. Well, that's the pros. Here we go for the cons. Freelining a large buoyant bait out to a feature or to a known area in the lake. Here's our surface. Some of the cons of freelining. It may be too far for you to cast. You may never reach that magic spot you want. You may reach the spot you want, but then the wind pushes it away, and although it may be pushing it in the right direction for a short period of time, eventually it goes out of view. Then there's surface drift. Lakes of any substantial depth have different degrees of movement at different levels throughout the depth. You may cast to a spot and in no time you find your bait has been pulled by the surface drift to a point you're no longer happy, and at various depths you get varying current movement. All of these movements affect your bait, so that perfectly positioned freeline bait may no longer be perfectly placed. Recasting is the obvious answer, but you may not be completely happy with casting constantly. Practice does make perfect, and believe me, once you get your eye in, you can hit a spot or an area consistently. So my choice, given that the area I'm aiming for is within reach, would always be a free-lined bait. Now, as you may have gathered from my videos on using tiger braid, freelining, I dunk it in the margin for a few seconds to give it extra weight and to make sure it always lands with the hook on top. This serves two purposes. The carp aren't aware of the hook, but the wildlife, that's the ducks, the moorhens, the coots, they can see the hook and they either have a peck at it or they leave it completely alone. So it has a twofold benefit. So for that extra distance, a bit of weight added to your bread by dunking it in the margin and then casting out will enable you to reach areas you couldn't possibly reach without that bit of extra weight. An alternative to freelining is to zig the tiger braid, and again I produce videos discussing and showing how to tie an adjustable zig rig for buoyant baits such as tiger bread. So the zigged bait would have a pear lead That's a typical pear lead, courtesy of a good friend, Cliff Healy. Thank you very much, Cliff. You notice the slight bow in the line. This is the undercurrent. You notice the almost vertical line from the pear lead to the surface bait. This will enable us to see bites on our rods and bite alarms quickly. I don't advocate slacklining, but bear in mind that if we tighten up, we can bring that surface bait down to any level we want and back up to any level we want, but only while the bread is still buoyant. Once it's absorbed water, and if you bring it below the surface for any length of time, you may find that it's absorbed sufficient water that it won't come back to the surface easily. So if you plan to fish on the surface or just subsurface, then adjust your bait during the early stages of fishing it, i.e. cast out, put your rod in the rest, sort your reel out, and then give it enough line for the bait to stay on the surface or bring it just under. You'll find that a lot of carp are cruising just under the surface. The difference between a complete surface bait and a subsurface bait is negligible, and it's all dependent on the carp on the day. Some days they will only take this level bait. Some days a true surface bait will stimulate that bite that you've been looking for. The downside of fishing zigs: casting pear leads into the swim constantly is going to have a disturbing effect on any carp in the area. They will return, but you may have spooked that golden opportunity. So yes, you can achieve greater distances from the bank. Yes, you can achieve accuracy to margins if that's the island and you want to fish the margin, then casting a zig may well be the answer. Island margins are notorious for holding carp. A specific feature, like a GPS coordinate gathered from a bait boat with GPS functions, or a known channel found by marker floats and leading about. You may decide that this area is the exact spot you were confident with, and that's a major part of fishing. Fishing confidently in a spot you were happy with. If you can hit that spot every time and present your bait every time, then they will return, and before you know it, you've got yourself that carp. So, advantages of zigs: accuracy, greater distance, consistency. It's not going to be affected as much, if at all, by wind or undertow, surface drift. None of these will affect as much as a freelined bait, and that's why zig and definitely adjustable zigs are so effective. So, how to decide? Adjustable zig or freelining? Well, experience has taught me that if we have both set up or easily changeable, then we can adapt to the conditions. If the wind gets up, if the wind drops, if a large carp appears cruising just subsurface, if we know there's a spot we want to fish, if the wildlife are very active that day and we want to have subsurface baits, we can just adjust our rig, pardon the pun. I hope that's helped you to decide between adjustable zigs or freelining. Thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.